Hi everyone. My name is Alicia Navarro, and I'm going to talk to you about, share with you the experiences I have about why Buffy the Vampire Slayer has helped me be a better entrepreneur. For those who are not fans already of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, let me tell you, it's not a joke. Buffy still is as relevant today as it was 20 years ago when she showed for the first time. It's not just a silly show about a teenager. It's a show that inverts expectations of genres, and instead of having the cute blonde girl be murdered in a horror film, Buffy shows that this cute blonde cheerleader is actually the strong slayer, the protagonist of the show that she's in. And instead of real life worries and fears and so on of being a teenager are manifested as actual demons. It's a brilliant show. But actually what is perhaps little appreciated is that she's also the best example of female leadership and actually entrepreneurship that's out there. And so I'm just going to walk through a few examples of what Buffy has taught me about how to be a great entrepreneur. The first is that I don't think entrepreneurship is necessarily a choice. Like being a slayer, you're born to it and you have to accept the duties and responsibilities and loneliness that come with this chosen one responsibility. Also, like Buffy, every day can be a burden. You have to go through seeing your friends die and having to kill people, but what Buffy teaches you is that you have to just survive one day at a time and eventually you'll conquer. Now, the reason that Buffy was the best slayer that ever was that unlike other slayers, she leveraged friends. She delegated like a good entrepreneur does. She was able to leverage the strengths and knowledge of her friends in order to be better than she was. What she was also great at doing was leveraging friends to balance her life. She realized that in order to be a really great slayer, you needed to be connected with who you were trying to save, which meant that you needed a connection, and her friends provided that balance. Similarly, as an entrepreneur, you can't be all work. You need a bit of play in order to be good at your job. Also, like Buffy, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to kill the things that you love, even if it kills you to do so. And Buffy was very good at doing things she didn't want to do, including killing her boyfriend, who was a vampire. Buffy was also fantastic at improvising. She was able to use the tools and insights around her in order to conquer any situation, like when she found a bazooka. Again, you have to watch Buffy to kind of get these moments. This is a particularly relevant point as a female entrepreneur. I've got a computer science degree, I run a tech company, and it's still quite often, though, that I can be very underestimated. But like Buffy, it doesn't bother me. Sometimes it can be really fun to kind of leverage that underestimation that people have with you and still beat them. Also, like Buffy, again, you may not recognize this scene, but sometimes you have to do the things that you don't want to do, like Buffy was want to do sometimes with other vampires. In Buffy lore, Halloween is meant to be a very quiet time of year, but of course, something bad always happens. And again, it teaches you as an entrepreneur to be aware that sometimes things happen when you don't want them to, and sometimes especially when you don't want them to. The reason that Buffy was always such a great slayer, and her watcher helped her to do this, is that she didn't use eyesight alone. She was very good at using all of her senses to be able to preemptively tell when something was going to happen, and thus she was able to fight and vanquish demons much more effectively. One of the most wonderful things, though, about Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a TV show is that it mixed these horrible, like these themes of darkness and horror with these wonderful themes of silliness and playfulness. And I think that that's a really powerful lesson when you're an entrepreneur, that even when you're stressed and you feel like the world is ending, you have to weave laughter in order to survive and to bring your team along on the journey with you. And then finally, as Buffy finished 7 years after she began 20 years ago this week, you have to face the future with hope. There you go.